One of the most important skills for swimmers to develop is the ability to create a lot of propulsion with their upper body. Unfortunately, it's also a skill that's very difficult to develop. To get the changes we're looking for, we sometimes have to use multiple strategies at the same time. In this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite combinations to help swimmers learn how to hold more water. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. The more propulsion swimmers can create, so we have to do whatever we can to help them make that happen. While any one strategy can be helpful, combining strategies is often way more helpful. Let's take a look at a powerful combination. In terms of creating propulsion, the arms are where it's at. They create the most propulsion, and the more propulsion swimmers can create, the faster they go. So we have to spend a lot of time, have to spend a lot of energy helping swimmers learn how to use their arms more effectively. What do they have to learn? They have to learn to move water backward. How do they do that? They need a big surface area to pull with. They need to be able to hold that surface area for a big range of motion, and they need to accelerate their arm throughout that range of motion. The more they can do of all three skills, the faster they're going to go. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Even though it's not complicated, that doesn't mean it's easy to make it happen. Unfortunately, helping swimmers learn how to create more propulsion is pretty challenging. It's not a natural movement, it's not a natural position, it's not a natural way to create force. And as a result, if we put swimmers in position to encourage them to create more propulsion, a lot of times they find a way around it. In particular, there are two strategies that can be really useful: resistance and pool buoys. Resistance works because swimmers have to create more propulsion in order to move themselves down the pool. However, some swimmers are going to exaggerate their kick. They're going to use their legs more in order to make that happen. Buoys, on the other hand, swimmers do have to use their arms to create performances. However, there's not always enough pressure on the propulsive component of it, or sometimes swimmers just will spin their arms and take more strokes in order to make it happen. So we're not necessarily getting as much of the change from a propulsion skill standpoint as we'd like. So in both cases, resistance can be effective, buoys can be effective, but they don't always take us all the way to where we want to go. So if we can keep the benefits, minimize the drawbacks, we'd have a solution that would be pretty effective. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So each strategy is powerful in its own right. The buoy isolates the arms by removing the legs. The resistance requires swimmers to be more effective with moving water backwards in order to move forwards and overcome that resistance. But these two strategies are even more powerful when they're combined. Again, the resistance requires more effective propulsive skills, and the buoy requires that swimmers create propulsion with their arms and not their legs. And so when we combine these strategies, there's nowhere for swimmers to hide. They have to create more propulsion. They have to make it happen with their arms. There's no way for them to get around that, and they have to be more effective at executing their skills in order to meet the demands of the set. By using the buoy and the parachute, we've taken away their options. We've put them in a position where they have to make it happen. So how do we take a great combination and make it even more effective? Well, we can ask swimmers to go fast. We can ask them to hit stroke counts. We can ask them to hit certain stroke rates, or we can do some combination of the three. By giving them performance goals, we're giving them objective feedback as to how well they're executing their propulsive skills while using the resistance and the buoy. So if they've got a buoy on, they've got resistance, and they have to take less strokes, the only way they can do that is by creating more propulsion per stroke. And then if we add a speed requirement, now they just can't take their time setting up the stroke. They've got to make that happen quickly. So they've got to create that same amount of propulsion to hit the stroke count, but they've got to do it in less time, which adds another layer of skill. You can also change hand postures, so you can have them do closed fists, you can have them do okay signs, you can have them pinch their paddles, whatever you want, and you can vary those different hand positions, or you can contrast them by having them go one hand closed, one hand open, and now they're working against the resistance and the buoy with one hand open, one hand closed. And that's going to force them to be really effective and figure out how to be symmetrical with the stroke, even though they've got asymmetrical hand postures to work with. You can also use this strategy with drills. And so any propulsive drill is going to be even more effective because they've got to overcome the resistance and they can't compensate with the legs. So a great strategy can be made even better by adding these little twists, adding these tweaks to help swimmers learn even more effectively and even faster. Here are two sets that put these ideas together. So the first one's a freestyle set. They're going to go 425s with a buoy and a parachute. The odds are as few strokes as possible. The evens, they're going to add 4 strokes and go fast. Then they're going to go 50 freestyle, minimize stroke count and time, 50 freestyle faster than 200 speed. So on those 425s, we've got the buoy, we've got the parachute. We're asking them to be really long and then be long and create speed. And they've got to do that without the legs and overcoming the resistance of the parachute. They've got to create a lot of propulsion with the upper body. The next time through, they're going to go the same thing, except on the 25s, the evens, they're going to add 6 strokes and go even faster. And then they're going to go minimize stroke count and time again, try to match it or be better, and then go faster on that 50 freestyle. The last round through, they're going to go the evens on those 25s, 8 strokes. They've got a lot more strokes now. They got to be able to create a lot more speed. They should be fastest. Then they're going to go 50 freestyle, minimize stroke count and time, and then one last 50, they're just going to let it rip. So we're using those 425 to set them up from a skill standpoint, and then they're trying to apply that speed during those 50s. The next set, they're going to go 3 rounds through, 450s backstroke with a buoy and a parachute. They're going to take fewer strokes each 50, and then they're going to go 450s backstroke with a buoy, descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke count, and then they're going to go 450s backstroke, descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke count, and then a 50 backstroke that's faster than that last 50 backstroke, followed by a 50 easy. So we're setting them up with the buoy and the parachute. They've got to create a lot of strength. They've got to create a lot of propulsion. They've got to create a lot of length on those 50s. And then we're adding speed to that length, but still using the buoy, still focusing on the upper body. Then we're going to take the buoy off, transition to regular backstroke, and we'll finish off with 150 backstroke that's better than all the rest. So we're using this strategy to help swimmers learn how to feel, how to hold a lot of water, and then we're asking them to perform both while using the buoy and the parachute, but just as importantly, taking it off when it really matters. We're asking them to transition and translate those same skills into their actual swimming. If you want to learn another powerful strategy for using resistance to help swimmers improve their skills, check out the video below.